So there you are.
Howdy do, my buckaroos. How the heck are you? So I am back. I am back. I am back in black. No, actually, I'm back in blue. And blue and flowers. I got this Hawaiian thing going on. Anyways, hey, I am joined by Jeff Lyons from NEBR, New England Beer Reviews. And this time, Jeff actually has a New England beer to talk to us about.
I
So,
sure
Jeff,
do, but I don't
say hi
have
to
one
my.
back. I'm not wearing.
Joining us at the Beer Whisperer Pub, and tell us what beer you got.
Well, I will say I'm not wearing black and blue like you are. I'm wearing kind of olive and black. But the beer I'm drinking is from Massachusetts, 6.0% ABV. This is Brewmaster Jack, which is a brewery that's been open about maybe 3 years. And this is their Total Eclipse Porter. So, and here is the way it looks. Handsome looking beer, don't you think? It's dark, black, nearly black, jet black. It had a busier, heavier head, but it faded down a bit before when we started the video. But it's a really handsome-looking beer, and I've had this. I picked up a 4-pack of this, so I've already had this before, and I've enjoyed it before. As a matter of fact, I know Tom, you're not a big fan of Rate Beer and Beer Advocate places like that, but this was my 100th porter on Rate Beer.
Nice, very nice. Well,
So
I want to qualify that real quick. I want to tell you what I'm drinking real fast, but I want to qualify that statement. Lagunitas Lucky 13, a Mondo Large Red Ale, 8.8%, 55 IBUs in my Rams tankard. But yeah, somebody on their channel said the other day that I despised Beer Advocate and that I said certain things about the folks that started that site, which is completely untrue. But I have been unkind to those sites, and that is true. And the reason I'm not a fan of BA or Rate Beer is because, in my opinion, there's a lot of misinformation on there. Although there are some very good reviewers like yourself on both of those sites, there's a whole lot of people that don't understand style that rate all beer as if it was just one. And that is my issue. But I've never said anything derogatory about the folks that started Beer Advocate or Rate Beer. So the folks that say that or say that I said anything about that are wrong.
Well, the main reason I like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate isn't so much because of the beer reviews, but more because it helps me track the beers I've had or have tried over the years.
Oh yeah, I suppose. I actually don't care too much about that, to be honest with you. I don't follow that. I just try whatever I can find. I have a pretty good memory of what I've had before, so I don't get on that stuff.
Well, I got about on Rate Beer, I got about 2,900 reviews, and
Nice.
Beer Advocate, I got about 2,700. But I can't remember all 2,700 or 20 reviews I've done.
That's a lot of beers, man.
It's like, yes, I go to one of those sites and they'll say, "Did I have that one?" I'll look at it. Oh yeah, I did back in 2010. But it's one of those things that I find it very helpful. And the one thing about Rate Beer as opposed to Beer Advocate, Rate Beer has this place rating thing, and so you can actually go find out good brew pubs and breweries and restaurants and stuff that sell beer, and read the reviews of people who've been to these places. And I've actually found that to be very helpful because I kind of create vacation trips. So I want to go to this brewery or that brew pub or that restaurant because Rate Beer says it's good. So I'm it's coming up end of June. I'm taking a week off, and one of the things I hope to do is to visit a couple of breweries and restaurants and places that I found on Rate Beer.
Well, there you go. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I think sometimes we all come from a different point of view. I'm a fan of listening to my own gut. And if I'm not going to walk to the cooler section, look at the beer, and all of a sudden stop and look at Untapped or look at Rate Beer, or look at Beer Advocate, decide if I want to buy the beer. I'm going to use my own mind and not rely on somebody else's opinion. So that's kind of my issue with some of those sites, is that you have so many bad reviews. You have so many people that don't understand the style that think they know what they're talking about. That's kind of my issue with those sites, is I don't think they're anywhere close to accurate. And I think you should use your own gut and not rely on somebody else. And if you can't rely on your own gut, if you can't say, okay, I'm going to try this just because. Then you obviously don't know enough about beer if you have to rely on somebody else's opinion.
No, I think I can agree with that. You're right. There are a lot of people on there who really don't know a lot about beer, and when they put their reviews on, they're kind of mundane or they seem to be missing something. But I guess I look at it more, not so much if I look at this particular beer review, Beer Advocate or Rate Beer, and say, well, yeah, I want to try that beer. I really do like, at least on Rate Beer, I really do like the place ratings. Because for me, it's kind of like to.
I actually agree with that. I can understand that. That makes sense.
It's kind of nice to say, well, this is a brew pub in such and such a town. Maybe I should visit it sometime, and check out the 3 or 4 beers they have to offer. And I think the place ratings for me anyway are very helpful. But the other thing is that I like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate because often the people who are members, and you're right, Tom, some of them maybe know nothing or very little about beer, but they bring out a beer. It's like, oh, I'd never heard of that one. It gives me gives me the chance to want to maybe at least explore it and find out more.
Yeah, I can see that. And I guess let me requalify what I said a little bit because maybe I didn't explain it right. It's not that people don't understand the style; is that you have so many people that if you're an amateur, if you're new to craft beer, hey, I'm new to craft beer. Here is my opinion of this beer. You know what? Whether I think you're wrong or not, I can respect you. But my issue is that so many people pass themselves off. Pass themselves off. Pass themselves off.
I got you.
Pass themselves off as experts, and those are the people I have an issue with.
No, I will agree with you on
tell me you're an expert.
I will agree with you on that. I just like looking at people who, the average Joe who says, "Oh, I really like this beer," and that's kind of why I like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. I'm also a member of Untapped. So, those sites are very helpful in many respects. But you're right. They shouldn't be guide. They should not guide your interest in craft beer. But they might give you some ideas like, oh, I didn't know this beer existed. Maybe it's worth trying sometime. And that's kind of how I look at it, really.
For some reason, I lost my camera. I was trying to get it back here.
Yeah, I see
that's okay. I guess my issue is there's so many people that want to pass themselves off as an expert. If it's okay if it's your first review or your 10th review. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you've had 125 beers, there's some people. Well, I know what I'm talking about. I've had 125 beers. Well, no, I've been drinking for 30 years. No, you don't know what you're talking about yet.
Well, I'm like you. I've actually been drinking. Actually, the first craft beer I ever had was 1987. So we're 29 years ago, and it was a Catamount Pale Ale. And the only reason I think I've talked about this before, either on my page or elsewhere, but the very first craft beer I ever had was Catamount Pale Ale, which the brewery itself closed in 1998 or 99, but it was out of Windsor, Vermont. And I was a reporter for a local radio station in those days, and they said they invited all this local media to come up for the grand opening. Said, "Hey, why the hell not? I'm working. And I can drink beer at the same time. Why not?" So I went up there with a bunch of local newspaper reporters and local radio stations, whatever, and got a tour of the brewery and got to try their pale ale. And so this is 1987, and I said, "Wow, this is really a new world of beer, something to really kind of explore more." And so, that was kind of what convinced me that there's more to the world than imports and adjunct lagerers.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? I'm going to end this session short because somehow I lost my camera. I don't know what the hell happened. It just stopped working, man. But yeah, I agree, Jeff. I think we agree on a lot of those points. I think we're just coming from two different directions. But yeah, I see why you like both of those sides for different reasons. I've just been irritated by some misinformation and folks that pass themselves off as experts that aren't. And I'm just one of those guys that like to, I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants guy. I mean, I want to use my own judgment. So it baffles me why so many people have to get to the cooler of the beer department and stop and look and look up a site. No, use your own judgment. If you've been drinking craft beer for a certain amount of time, use your own judgment, man. Or even if not, ask the beer guy right there. I've got 2 great stores where I can talk to my beer guy. Hey, what do you think? But I don't need to pull up a site to see what somebody rates it. That just drives me nuts.
No, I agree with you on that. I think the idea is that if I look at a particular rate beer or beer advocate review, if everyone says this beer sucks, then I probably have a good idea that the beer sucks.
Yeah, but I've also
really
noticed on Beer Advocate, more so than Rate Beer actually, that there's a lot of monkey see, monkey do behavior, whereas you have certain darling breweries that can do no wrong no matter if they do several wrong beers. And so you see a lot of monkey see, monkey do behavior. Oh, it's an A+. Oh, I agree, it's an A+. Oh, I agree. And I don't know this for a fact, but it seems like some of these people have never really tried the beer because of their description of it.
Actually, believe me, Tom, I actually agree with you probably 110%. But when I look at Beer Advocate or Rate Beer, if everyone says this is a good beer, then I'm probably going to want to try it. If everyone says this is a sucky beer, then I probably don't want to try it.
My problem with that is, Jeff, is that you see a lot of people, there's like Prairie Bomb. It's a great beer. Everybody knows it's a great beer. Everybody thinks it's a great beer. But now everything that brewery does is an A+, even when it's not. And then you see a lot of these same folks, if give a C. If you look at specific reviewers, they'll give a C- or a D to every Pilsner, regardless of how good it is, because they don't understand the style. And that's what irritates me.
No, I agree with you there. I do not like people who automatically say because this is a Pilsner or because this is an amber ale or whatever. They don't look at it for its style, for its characteristics. But the way I look at it is if there's 25 people that reviewed a beer and said, hey, this beer is really good, you got to try it. Or if you got 25 people who said this beer really sucks, don't touch it with a 10-foot pole, then it might give me some kind of.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you probably have a point there. It's just you look at certain styles and you look at basic styles on both of those sites, and Pilsners and lagers tend to get hammered no matter how good they are.
You're right. I love Pilsners. I'm one of these guys that loves Pilsners. If you look at my beer reviews on my NEBR channel, the Pilsners I've done within the last few weeks, I always say, I love Pilsners. But most people don't really think about Pilsners much. They don't quite comprehend them. I'm not sure if they don't like them. It's just they don't think of them as anything really craft beer. They think of it as like, oh, standard everyday beer. But Pilsners, I mean, I love that toasted biscuit character. I love that grassy character. I just love Pilsners. They're one of my favorites.
Yeah, I agree, especially in the summertime. So I want to apologize to anybody out there that happens to be watching us, mostly for hearing me cuss about my camera. But for my camera being off, I don't know what the hell happened. It just turned off for some reason. It was working. That's not. Hey, Jeff, any final words here for this session?
That's okay, Tom. They get to see my smiling face when you're not
right,
here.
Jeff. And by goodness, that's what's important. Hey, I want to thank everybody for joining Jeff from NEBR, for joining us. If there's any whiskey drinkers that happen to be watching us, I would ask you to please check out our group Drinking Whiskey on Facebook. This is Tom the Beer Whisperer. Good luck and good night. I'm stealing from, you know who I'm stealing from. I don't need to tell you.